I sponsored Song Han and his White Moonlight. Just as I was about to pull out my credit card, a string of comments flashed before my eyes. Miss, put your money away quick. Once his White Moonlight becomes a medical expert, Song Han won't love you anymore. Medical expert? I press my aching stomach and ask softly, really? The little girl I sponsored is that amazing? In the second month of confirming my relationship with the poor student Song Han, he asked me for 200,000. What do you need 200,000 for? Everything on Song Han, from his slippers to his underwear, was bought by me. Where would he spend the money? The boy's eyes flickered. I have a friend who also wants to go to school. Anyway, sponsoring 2 more people shouldn't be a burden for you. The comments in my mind suddenly let out a sharp shriek. White Moonlight. The person he wants you to sponsor is his White Moonlight, Suyu. Future genius girl. The male lead is too shameless, using the miss's money to support his White Moonlight. But he has abandoned the heiress for her over and over. Heiress, don't agree to him. Yet in the flurry of comments, I keenly spotted the words, genius girl. Is it a girl? Did she score higher than you on the high school entrance exam? I asked. Song Han's face looked a little uncomfortable. Scores about the same, I forgot. The girl might not be the brightest, but you're not short on cash anyway. Fine, I cut him off. A girl from a poor family, with good grades and a desire to study. That's enough. I slapped away Song Han's outstretched hand for money. What's the deal? I'm funding a student. Why should it go through you? Are you a middleman skimming off the top? Song Han looked helpless. Suyu doesn't have WeChat or Alipay. If you give me the cash, I'll pass it on to her. The comments were all buzzing about how Song Han descended like a savior with cash in hand, rescuing Suyu from the quagmire of hardship, becoming her motivation and pillar along the way. These days you send money and the recipient thanks the delivery guy, not the pair. I ignored Song Han. I pulled out my phone to book a ticket. Perfect timing, I'll go see her myself. I put on a dazzling makeup, brought 6 bodyguards, and carried a bag of cash, just in case Suyu couldn't remember who was the hero riding a rainbow to save her. After crossing 3 mountains and climbing 8 slopes, with mud all over my shoes, holding the enamel mug of brown sugar water that Suyu's mother had pressed into my hands, the little girl hurriedly ran back from the paddy field carrying a bucket, and Sue's mother suddenly darkened her face. Suyu, what trouble did you cause at school? Hurry up and come here. She glanced at Song Han beside me, pondered, and began speaking. We all know Song Han has a girlfriend from the city. It's you, isn't it? Has this girl, Suyu, been out of line? So our large group made Sue's mother misunderstand. She thought Suyu was being tactless, associating with Song Han who was taken, which is why I brought bodyguards to confront her. The situation at Sue's house was not what I imagined. There was no cliché drama of favoring sons over daughters. Though the home was poor, it was tidy and clean. Sue's mother's clothes were full of patches, yet her manners and speech were gentle and polite. Even though she verbally criticized her daughter's lack of propriety, her body subtly blocked in front of Suyu, watching us. The bullet comments were also defending Suyu. The White Moonlight actually didn't do much. Ever since she found out the male lead had a girlfriend, she rarely spoke to him. Suyu never liked the male lead before, either. It was the male lead who funded her schooling, and that's how she gradually developed feelings. Come on, it was the young lady who funded it. Song Han was just an errand boy. Suyu was not tall, half a head shorter than the average high school girl, and very thin. When her mother scolded her, she didn't talk back. Instead, she helped support her mother's waist. Auntie, you've misunderstood. I waved and called the girl over, touched her chapped little hands. I'm not here to blame anyone. I want to ask if Suyu still wants to continue her studies. I'm willing to sponsor her through high school, and if she can get into college, I'd like to continue supporting her. Suyu suddenly looked up, her eyes sparkling as she stared at me. Indeed, she looked like a hard-working and clever girl. Before coming, I checked her report card. That liar Song Han, Suyu scored a full 30 points higher than him on the high school entrance exam. This wasn't just a little different, it was a world apart. Not to mention Song Han had someone sponsoring and supporting him, while Suyu achieved her results entirely on her own. The girl must have been delighted. I looked at her with a smile, but Suyu bit her lower lip and then gave me a crisp bow. She said, "Thank you, kind sister, but I won't be going to school anymore." Suyu had done the math. High school tuition was 800 yuan per semester, plus books, uniforms, and miscellaneous fees. It would come to at least 2,000 yuan. There was also living expenses. Mother Sue had a chronic illness and needed long-term medication. She couldn't do heavy work. If Su Yu went to school, her mother would have to stop taking her medicine. Sister Xiao, the factory where Aunt works, is hiring. I asked around and the pay is good. In 2 years, when I turn 18, I can become a regular employee. I thought for a moment, then interrupted her. You're not going to school just to make money for your mom's medicine? The girl paused, then nodded. That's easy, I said, clapping my hands. I'll cover Auntie's medical expenses too. I don't have much else, but I've got plenty of money. Who's jealous? I want to jump through the screen and be this lady's loyal dog. She actually gives when she says she will. Speaking of which, the Real loyal dog doesn't look too happy. Only then did I remember to look at Song Han, who had been silent the whole time. Song Han was a poor student I had sponsored a few years back. He was now a sophomore in college, a fresh-faced young man. Actually, I had sponsored many students, but Song Han was the most grateful. Ever since middle school, he insisted on writing to me every month. He filled in his college application with my city as his first choice, coming over every day after class to check on me. Before that, 200,000, our relationship was actually pretty good. The bullet comments all say Su Yu is the turning point in our relationship. The heiress was foolish. How could she put her love rival right next to her? See, the key plot point is coming soon. The heiress will definitely regret it. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm an heiress starved for love. My dad was a wild playboy obsessed with extreme sports. He killed himself racing cars, leaving me a sky-high compensation bill. My mom couldn't take it and ran off to divorce when I was 2. She disappeared without a trace. I inherited all the property from both my dad's and mom's families. You could say, besides money, I have nothing but money. There's a saying in high society, if you're short on cash, go be Xiao Qining's boyfriend. If you're handsome enough and play your cards right, you'll definitely make it. I can barely remember how many boyfriends I've gone through, but Song Han lasted the longest. He was like a little dog. No matter what, I couldn't chase him away. When the bullet comments were all saying Su Yu was Song Han's first love, I wasn't really that upset. Boyfriends come and go, right? People often say that being starved for love isn't scary. Quantitative change leads to qualitative change, but I never expected Song Han to be so quick on his feet. Before I could even find the next one, he'd already secretly bailed, clutching his stomach as he slid off the office chair at 2 in the morning. Cold sweat drenched my back. Song Han acted all coy and clingy, insisting on picking me up from work, then blushed and shooed away my driver. Then, while I was working overtime on the last report, he drove off with my medicine and sweet soup. Su Yu had a fever in the dorm, and the male lead drove so frantically his wheels nearly caught fire. What a dumbbell. That was my car. At the very least, he should have told the miss, but no. He was the one who clung to her shamelessly, and now he just leaves her all alone. I knew I shouldn't have funded the White Moonlight. It only made opportunities for the boyfriend and the rival. You all, stop arguing. The miss was in such pain she was cramping toward unconsciousness. Just before my mind sank into chaos, I dialed emergency, tapped the address broadcast on the office desk, and then let myself sink completely. I was woken up by the smell of chicken soup. The mix of chicken soup and disinfectant was intoxicating. Ning ning. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Song Han, unshaven and red-eyed, kept apologizing. After 2 months together, I knew Song Han had many flaws: insecurity, stubbornness, pride, and a need to save face. But I really did like him. Young and aloof, like a poplar tree, a college guy with his heart and eyes on you, timing his arrival to wait for me after work at the company building. Always brimming with a warm smile, fussing over whether to add more salt or less vinegar to the dishes, thinking through my preferences hundreds of times. I was out of my mind. I promise you this will never happen again. I'll stay by your side, every day. You have no idea how scared I was. I coughed lightly, glanced aside, and interrupted him. I'm hungry. Song Han hurried to unscrew the lid and ladled chicken soup for me. How long was I unconscious? Here, careful, it's hot. 6 hours. The doctor said you shouldn't work overtime or stay up late anymore. Your body can't take it. How about I move in to take care of you? I took a sip and stopped. What's wrong? He looked at me nervously. I shook my head without speaking and took another sip. Too much salt. This soup wasn't made by Song Han. As if by telepathy, I instinctively glanced toward the door and caught a glimpse of a furry head that hadn't fully retreated. Whoever's at the door, come in? Song Han's face instantly turned pale. The furry one hesitated for a long time, then shuffled a step and stood at the doorway. Her face was still flushed and unnatural red, at a loss, head down, not daring to look at me. Why does that white moonlight always have to pop up everywhere? Our relationship as an older woman and younger man was just starting to ease up, and now she's going to ruin it again. Young mistress, please just get her out of here. The male lead acts like he's possessed whenever he meets Suyu. If you keep her by your side, Song Han will only abandon you again and again. Again and again, choosing the white moonlight, is that it? I looked at Song Han, who looked utterly haggard. Panic written all over his face. Ning Ning, don't be mad. It's too late. Suyu has a high fever and has nowhere to go. I just brought her here. I'll have her leave now. Why don't you go out quickly? As he said this, he was about to drive Suyu away. Wait, I said softly. Was it you who sent Song Han? Before Suyu could answer, the barrage comments had already told me everything. The one who called was Suyu's roommate. Suyu had just been promoted to the city high school, and her address book only had 3 phone numbers. Mom, fellow townsman Song Han, President Xiao. The roommate wasn't sure of my identity and knew that Suyu's mother was far away in the countryside, so she had no choice but to call Song Han. I'm sorry. Suyu bit her lip but didn't explain anything, just said 2 apologies in a row. I felt a bit helpless. You didn't do anything wrong. It's right to ask for help when you're sick. If you don't ask for help, are you supposed to wait to die? My phone's emergency contacts have always been the hospital and police station. I keep medicine at home, in the office, and in the car. On my desk and beside my bed, there are alert devices that have my address and personal health information recorded. I let my guard down and trusted my boyfriend too much. Tonight's incident served as a wake-up call. The young girl never intended to take Song Han away from me. Can't blame her. The chicken soup was brought by you. Song Han's clenched hand tightened. Ning Ning, I wasn't asking you. I looked at Suyu. The young girl's big eyes were a bit flustered, and she nodded blankly, a patient still running a fever herself. She found a place to make chicken soup overnight. If I hadn't discovered her waiting by the door, I wouldn't have known a thing. Thanks. Go back and recover. I'll cover the medical expenses. A stream of ellipses floated across the Damaku. Is the female lead suffering from some kind of saint complex? Even after all this, she still won't kick Suyu out? Wait until the male lead abandons her a second time, or a third time, then she'll learn her lesson. I didn't speak, quietly waiting as Suyu bowed to me and left the ward. Then I calmly said, Song Han, let's break up. My tone was very calm. Then, unsurprisingly, I heard the sound of the soup bowl in Song Han's hand shattering on the floor. The second time, the third time in the future, it would be Song Han who abandons me countless times. Why solve the problem by dealing with Suyu? Wouldn't it be better to just get rid of Song Han? Song Han came to see me many times, but I never met him. He sent me many WeChat messages. Confessions, reflections, promises. Ning Ning, I was wrong. From now on, between you and Suyu, I will always choose you. I will never abandon you for Suyu again, trust me. Later, seeing that I didn't come back, you became furious. Suyu's family is not well off. She often couldn't even get enough to eat. We are from the same hometown. Shouldn't I take care of her a bit? Xiao Qining, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. You never know how much effort people like us have to put in, 1,000 times more. You never know our hardships. I was non-committal and casually blocked him. Their hardships were not caused by me. What made me decide to break up was not that Song Han chose to save Suyu, causing me to be hospitalized in a coma, but that I found he always liked to put 2 girls on a scale to compare, making both of them suffer simultaneously. Then he would play the role of choosing one and abandoning the other. There are clearly many ways to solve the problem, like calling an ambulance for Suyu, or calling my driver to come back, or even driving me to school together with her. Using the abandonment of one person to express love for another is too foolish. In fact, whether for me or for Suyu, he is not that important. Losing a considerate cook will just be a short period of discomfort. But it didn't last long. The busy work and the fresh, young guys soon filled the void in my life, and for a long time, I even forgot about Suyu's existence. Until my secretary came to report, Chairman Xiao, the experimental building you donated at Puhua No. 1 High School is completed. The school wants to hold a ceremony and invite you to present scholarship certificates to the outstanding students. When I actually stood on the splendid stage and handed the award certificate into Suyu's arms, I couldn't help but frown. She was too thin, even thinner than when I first knew her, with sunken cheeks. Her hair was dry and yellow. High school coursework was intense and demanding. How could she survive 3 years of high school in this state? Go find out what's going on. Suyu was doing quite well, truly the genius girl the bullet comments talked about. Even though her academic foundation was far behind the other city kids, she caught up at the fastest pace. In just 1 year, she made it into the top 50 of her grade. After reading the investigation report the secretary brought, I kept silent with a dark face. The little girl sat across from me, restless. Chairman Xiao, I'm sorry. I know my grades aren't good, but I will work hard. I will definitely work hard. I rubbed my brow. Who told her that? Suyu. I found it somewhat amusing. Every time I see you, you're apologizing. What did you do wrong to me? The girl fell silent. I sponsor you not to lord it over you. Not to hear you say sorry all the time. I might as well raise a parrot. Change this bad habit. And who said your grades are bad? Ranking 50th out of 1,000 in your grade, if you call that bad, then the 950 people behind you might as well give up. Sponsors need basic mental preparation. Not every penny spent has to produce a top-tier student from Tsinghua or Peking University. If it doesn't, thinking your sponsorship was a loss? The charity project is about not bearing to see hardworking kids lose their chance, not buying lottery tickets hoping for a big win. What I want to ask you is, I tapped the table. The sponsorship money was sent to you long ago, living expenses included, not a cent short. Why did you end up like this? Your classmates say you only eat steamed buns and pickled vegetables during the day, and you can't even bring yourself to buy a thermos. Are you a miser? Money only comes in, never out. Suyu bit her lip, not daring to look at me. Is it not enough money? That can't be. I, the young lady, am always generous. No, the young girl quickly shook her head. After a long struggle, Suyu finally whispered the truth. It turned out Suyu's sponsorship money had been borrowed by Song Han, a sophomore from a poor family background. Even with scholarships and part-time jobs, it was far from enough to maintain the lifestyle he had while with me, especially since he cared so much about saving face. He didn't want anyone to know his living standard had plummeted, so after thinking it over, he set his sights on Suyu. The money I gave to Suyu was meant for her 3 years of school and tutoring, but Song Han borrowed 70 or 80% of it. The young girl didn't want to worry her mother, so she had to cut her own living expenses, eating steamed buns with pickled vegetables. Are you stupid? If he borrowed it, you just gave it? He's a college student with working hands and feet. Why does he need your subsidy? Unexpectedly, Suyu said softly. This money was originally your sponsorship to me, so giving it back.
I didn't hear the rest. What?
I scratched my ear. Hey, wait, what do you mean we funded you? What does Song Han have to do with this money? This time, the little girl was dumbfounded. Back in the countryside, everyone knew about Song Han hooking up with a rich girl. He'd been boasting that after graduation, he'd marry me. So, in his mind, we were basically family. That's why Suyu always remembered Song Han's kindness. After all, she and I were complete strangers. And Song Han was her fellow villager. When I first went to sponsor her, he was the one who took me there. In the eyes of the country folk, Song Han had made it big, bringing his girlfriend back home and casually sponsoring his childhood friend. My expression was hard to read. Is that what Song Han told people back in your hometown? Suyu hesitated, then nodded. Little sister. I took a deep breath and pointed at myself. Remember this. I'm the one who drops the gold coins. I sponsored you because you did well on the high school entrance exam. You're adorable, hardworking, and diligent, not because of Song Han. Besides, Song Han and I broke up a long time ago. My money has nothing to do with him. Him taking money from you in my name is extortion. It's fraud. I told Suyu that if money and power are spread through a romantic relationship, it's just the occasional charity of those in power. Everyone wants to latch onto a rich woman, but that rich woman isn't foolish either. So, now what are you going to do if Suyu can't see the situation clearly? After all that talk, she still didn't understand who was actually helping her. I might as well save my breath. The little girl thought for a long time. Finally understanding what I said, she plucked up the courage and said, "I'll go get it back." Song Han was hopping mad on the other end of the phone. "Suyu, you're ungrateful. Brother Song, the one who sponsored me, is Chairman Xiao, not you. You took the money in her name and didn't return it. I can sue you." A cold laugh came from the other end of the line. "Without me, how could you have met Xiao Qining? And you want to sue me? What proof do you have that I took your money?" When Song Han came to find Suyu, she took cash, so there's no transfer record. Suyu glanced at me, her young voice very calm. "Brother Song, when you came to get the money, we were at the basketball court. The court has surveillance. I borrowed my roommate's phone, and I have a recording." "Oh, not bad. Not too stupid after all." Hearing no response from the other end, Suyu's tone softened. "Brother Song, I'm really grateful that you care about me. You helped me find sponsorship opportunities and even took me to the hospital. I'm willing to lend you the money. Once I earn enough in the future, you can borrow it for as long as you want, but not now." That money was sponsored by President Xiao. Even if I don't pursue it, she will. I smiled. She knows how to use borrowed authority. Song Han was indeed intimidated. He knew my methods, and trying to get the money from Suyu was just a fluke hope that I wouldn't find out.
Fine.
I'll pay you back part of it first, and write an IOU for the rest. Not going to cheat you out of your money, stingy." Song Han hung up. I looked at Suyu's sparkling eyes, like a jubilant rabbit, and couldn't help but soften. I patted her head. "Well done. Now can you tell me where your living expenses have gone?" Suyu's living expenses were given to her on a monthly basis, precisely because we were worried that a young girl suddenly receiving a large sum might run into trouble. Logically, this money wasn't taken by Song Han, but Suyu's life was still tight. However, Suyu kept her mouth shut. No matter how much we pressed, she wouldn't say a thing. Just as we were talking, Suyu's homeroom teacher knocked on the door. "Suyu, the hospital called." When we arrived at the hospital, Suyu's mother had just come out of the emergency room. Suyu was sobbing, leaning against the bed rail. She gripped the railing tightly, terrified. On the way there, she couldn't even manage to shed a tear. It wasn't until she saw Suyu's mother safe at the emergency room entrance that, "President Xiao, sorry for the trouble," Suyu's mother said weakly, raising her hand. I signaled that it was fine. After accompanied her mother back to the ward, the attending physician said to me with a grave expression, "Miss Chen's condition is very strange. It's not a common chronic disease, but it has caused multiple organ failure. We need to run further tests." I took a moment to glance at the live comments. Although the young lady and the male lead had already broken up, the plot of tormenting the white moonlight had still arrived. I remember in the original plot, it was because Sue's mother passed away that Suyu firmly chose medicine. She later became a highly talented rising star in the medical field. But in the original plot, the young lady had already given up sponsoring Suyu after the first coma and never appeared in this part of the story. Do you think she will change the plot? I will. I solemnly tell the doctor, please find the cause of the disease. Do your best to save her. I will enlist experts in related fields to cooperate. Don't worry about the cost. Back in the ward, Sue's mother was holding Suyu's hand. She must be in a lot of pain, yet she still smiled gently. Suddenly, I felt a bit envious. Even though Suyu has nothing, she has a good mother who loves her deeply. Auntie, rest assured and focus on recovering. I've already instructed the doctor to do everything possible to treat you. I no longer have a mother, so I don't want this young girl to suffer the same fate. President Xiao, Sue's mother called me gently. You've gone to great trouble. Is it an upset stomach? Only then did I realize I had unconsciously pressed my hand against my stomach. It's nothing, just an old problem. Sue's mother disapprovingly said, health issues are never trivial. Don't delay. Seeing me nod absently, she didn't press further. President Xiao, you might not know the full picture. My condition, it's not a chronic disease. Sue's mother, or rather Chen Jiying, was a college student in the 1980s, majoring in biology. My mother is very impressive. Much more impressive than me, Sue said softly. Ms. Chen Jiying had great talent in biology and was deeply passionate about the subject. She went from a remote village to a top-tier university, spending almost every day in the lab. But she was unlucky. She encountered a lab accident. Toxic chemicals leaked, damaging various functions of her body and ruining her hands. Back then, there was no insurance or high compensation. Simply saving her life was a miracle. Ms. Chen Jiying was forced to drop out. She spent over 2 years at home rehabbing before she could take care of herself. In the countryside, old beliefs prevailed. Her parents worried no one would look after her in the future. So they arranged a marriage for her. The Su family was poor but didn't mind that Chen Jiying couldn't work. Su's father was hardworking and capable. So Chen Jiying got married, had children, and gave birth to Suyu. The white moonlight truly fits the beautiful, strong, and tragic archetype. It's already sad that her mother was injured, and then her father died young. No wonder she became sensitive and withdrawn later. Geniuses always have to bear more, I frowned. If I had a choice, I believe no ordinary person would willingly trade a happy family and childhood for this. Healthy family members in exchange for so-called setbacks and success. By the way, if the young lady interferes with Su's mother's illness, will it hinder Suyu from becoming a medical expert? Upstairs, my mother also passed away when I was very young. If I could save my mother, I would be willing to accomplish nothing, to keep failing, to pay any price. Looking at Suyu's resilient smile, I believe she thinks the same. Sorry, Sister Xiao. I lied to you. My mother's illness costs much more than ordinary chronic diseases. I wanted to save a bit more for her. Just save a bit more. I patted her head. What did I just teach you? Suyu was stunned and tentatively asked, to break the bad habit of saying sorry? You don't even remember that. I took Suyu's hand. Your monthly living expenses are 1,000. Even if you save, you can't save 10,000 in a year. Do you know how much ICU costs per day? Suyu bit her lower lip and said nothing. To make money, you have to maximize economic benefits. Do you know why there are bank loans in the world? To allow people with assets to borrow money. Yeah. So, do you know why Xiao Qining exists in this world? It's to lend money to people who have no money or assets, but have a future. Little girl, you're in luck.
You've met a soft-hearted me.
You don't have to pay any price. I'll help you keep your mom. Ms. Chen Jiying's surgery was very successful. In the original plot, Suyu didn't have the money to transfer to a major hospital for consultation. She missed out on the newly developed foreign miracle drug. The little girl grew up healthy, just like in the original plot, like a sapling desperately absorbing nutrients. She planted her roots deep into the soil. The college entrance exam arrived on schedule. On the day of filling out her college application preferences, the little girl called me. Sister Xiao, I want to study medicine. She was admitted to the medical school of the top university with the second highest score in the province. A combined master's and doctoral program. So you see, even without the trashy plot controlling her, the genius girl is still a genius girl. Oh, by the way, after recovering, Ms. Chen Jiying also took the adult college entrance exam and re-entered the halls of a university. Perhaps to make the White Moonlight's loss of everything painfully severe, the original plot also gave Suyu enough favoritism. Their mother-daughter academic talents in their respective fields were astonishing. Even after nearly 2 decades away, MS. Chen Jiying still loves all kinds of biological experiments deeply. My mom won't even answer my calls now. She spends every day immersed in the lab, the young girl complained to me. She can always get a full scholarship every year. She shines in every competition, winning first place. Unlike the gloomy and sensitive version in the original plot, Suyu is now full of vitality. I'm someone who can borrow 2 million in the future, you know. My future must be very bright. Yes, I said. I told you I have good taste. I pressed my stomach as I said that, and hung up. The little boy in front of me was blinking at me. Auntie, are you feeling unwell? Tummy ache? Want some candy? He extended his right hand, which had only 3 fingers, and opened it. In his palm lay a white rabbit candy. Auntie's fine. The newly arrived young guy was quite perceptive, smoothly handing me warm water and painkillers. If Suyu had seen this,
You're going to scold me again.
The children's cafeteria is too shabby, and the hygiene isn't guaranteed. Dean, the Xiao Foundation will open the Public Welfare Fund at the end of the month. You can submit your materials directly to my secretary. The old dean repeatedly expressed his thanks. The company caught several waves of opportunities, and I sat at home counting money. Over the years, aside from keeping toy boys, my biggest expense has been charity. I have no parents, no siblings, no children. A steady stream of boyfriends each took what they needed, coming and going in a hurry. Some were as considerate as Song Han. There were also those with strong personalities. After so many, I could barely remember them. On the contrary, I have a deep impression of the children I sponsored. Suyu graduated with a doctorate and became a doctor. Among the sponsored children, she is the closest to me. On her days off, she would come to me and make sure I eat properly. And Ms. Chun Jiying, besides doing experiments, her favorite thing is to research new dishes for me. Xiao Qining, you're too picky about food. 100 times harder to feed than Suyu. A few years ago, I sponsored a boy with albinism. Self-taught video editing at home, accidentally became an online sensation and turned into a self-media blogger. A pair of twin sisters from Suyu's alma mater, who were originally planning to drop out after high school entrance exams, thanks to the scholarship I set up, both were admitted to top-tier universities and became teachers after graduation. Oh, and Song Han. Back then, he was drifting aimlessly, planning to use the money he took from Suyu for gambling, betting against fate. But a phone call from Suyu interrupted him. Song Han cares a lot about his face and loves to boast. But he's not brave enough and was afraid he'd really get sued for stealing. So, he honestly returned the money later. Now he's also a successful working professional. As I get older, the kids I sponsor are getting younger. That child. I pointed at the little boy who only had 3 fingers on each hand, looking about 4 years old, abandoned by his family. He hasn't learned to use his hands well yet. We should find a specialized teacher to teach him. Don't delay. By the time he's an adult, it'll be too late to learn. Outside the window, the sky was getting dark. In the distance, faint fireworks could be seen. The director patted the little boy on the shoulder, and the boy said in a babyish voice, "Annie, are you staying to have New Year's Eve dinner with us?" I crouched down and shook my head. No, Annie has to go home and eat. Suyu and Ms. Chun Jiying are still waiting for me at home. On Lantern Festival, Suyu clamored to come over and make glutinous rice balls at home. I looked down and replied to a WeChat message, busy with something. How about the weekend? Putting away my phone and looking up, the attending physician was pointing at the x-ray seriously. Xiao, your condition here is very bad. I recommend an immediate pathological examination. The bullet comments suddenly exploded. So, the plot has come to this point after all. The platform used to forbid spoilers about the young lady getting sick. I couldn't post it no matter what. I'm about to burst. My dear young lady, please don't get sick. In the original plot, the young lady drove away her first love, successfully fell in love with the male lead, and got married, but contracted a terminal illness after the wedding. No one expected that the only doctor who could perform the surgery turned out to be Suyu.
So this was the true storyline.
I had reached out but then let go, making both Song Han and Suyu resent me, gradually pushing Song Han away. Until a sudden severe illness struck, the proud and arrogant young lady of a lifetime had to kneel and beg for mercy from the former poor student. So, this is the exciting part, I thought with a twitch of my lips. Right, and Dr. Suyu. But the plot had changed. Suyu hadn't yet conquered this medical challenge. According to the attending physician in front of me, it was just like the comment said. The medical field was conducting related research, but hadn't achieved a breakthrough yet. In the original plot, Suyu's mother died of illness, and she worked fiercely, day and night on experiments. She graduated with a PhD 2 years early and joined the special research group. At this point in time, she had already developed a cure plan. Love makes people grow flesh and blood. I mindlessly scrolled through my social media feed. The girl was wearing a gray woolen dress, smiling brightly under the festive lanterns. Just a few days ago, she had told me she had feelings for a fellow senior apprentice and asked me for advice on how to pursue him. Her pace slowed down, and life filled with more beauty beyond medicine. A barrage of crying emojis scrolled across the screen. So sad. The eldest lady saved Suyu but lost her own chance to be saved. If Suyu knew the truth, how sad that would be. It's okay, I won't let her know. Suyu has indeed been raised by me into a carefree, reckless kid. But not Ms. Chun Jiying. I opened the door in my thick loungewear, and Suyu charged in with a big bag of glutinous rice flour. Move, I can't carry it anymore. Ms. Chun Jiying met my eyes. A mother is always more perceptive. Why do you look so pale? The overseas merger case isn't easy to negotiate. I've been exhausted lately. I pretended to stretch and complained. Xiaoyu said you were in the mountains a few days ago, working on an education fund. Really? I answered dryly, having forgotten to coordinate our stories before lying. Luckily, Ms. Chun Jiying didn't press further. At the dinner table, I carefully phrased my words. Auntie Chun, Xiaoyu, I need to go abroad after the holiday. You don't have to come over on weekends for now. The treatment requires a hospitalization period. To avoid them noticing anything, it's better not to meet for now. Suyu let out an, "Ah." Sis, I was planning to introduce you to my senior. I raised an eyebrow. Done deal. Suyu nodded happily. Sis, you have no idea how hard he is to pin down. He gets off work even later than our mom, every day. If we want to eat together, it's only through delivery apps. From now on, the three of us will probably never see each other in person. The girl kept complaining, but her face was full of happiness. I heard from the comments that her boyfriend is upright, comes from an open-minded family, and has outstanding academic achievements, an ideal marriage candidate. The little girl I sponsored finally broke free from the original plotline, no longer tangled in a love triangle with emotional drain. She wouldn't lose her mother early and become depressed. That's enough. I packed my hospital luggage, settled my company affairs, entrusted them to a professional agent, scheduled a cat sitter for at-home feedings, handed my plans over to the secretary, then called my younger boyfriend to break up. He sobbed on the other end, unwilling to let go, until I said I would send him abroad for further studies. The puppy-like boy was silent for a long time, then whispered, "Take care." Before heading to the hospital, "I want to go see my playboy father, who loved liveliness so much in life, but was buried by me in a remote suburb after death. I wonder if he's up in heaven shouting at me, calling me an ungrateful daughter." My insides ache all over, and I hunch over, sitting on the ground. It's quiet in front of the tombstone. The bond between father and daughter was pitifully thin, yet only I come to visit him during holidays. "Dad, I'm better than you. From now on, there will probably be many people visiting me every year," I tell him proudly. But no one answers me, except the wind. Fate loves to play outrageous jokes. One moment I was showing Sue my ticket to Iceland on WeChat, and an hour later I was taken by ambulance to the hospital where she works. I passed out on the street, no one to blame. When I woke up again, Suyu's eyes were swollen like walnuts. "Sis, does it hurt a lot?" she asked tearfully. "This disease is exactly my area of research. We've been cooperating with the medical university on clinical trials. Don't be afraid, sis. I can definitely save you. I can definitely save you." The girl handed me water, but her hands were trembling so much she couldn't even hold the cup. I sighed. This was exactly why I didn't want to tell her. If Suyu's team developed a treatment plan, then I would naturally be saved, and she wouldn't need to know. But if she did know, she'd bear immense psychological pressure, taking all the responsibility for saving me onto her own shoulders. The live comments said that according to the original plot, Suyu was still far from being able to perform the surgery, and it wasn't something she could just improve overnight. But she didn't believe it. She threw herself into the lab, day and night, a girl in her 20s, looking more haggard than me, the actual patient. The live comments quietly kept me company. "Don't you think it's unfair? If the young lady had given up on Suyu back then, it might have actually made Suyu succeed, and now she could save herself too. People shouldn't be too saintly." "Hey, don't say that. The young lady didn't know things would turn out like this back then. But I think even if she had known, the young lady would still have helped Suyu save her mother, letting both Suyu and Ms. Chen Jiying live well." I smiled faintly as I watched the arguments in the live comments. They didn't know how grateful I was that they had accompanied me for so many years. On countless quiet nights where the cicadas chirping was all that could be heard, they drove away my fear and loneliness. As for whether I regret it, to be honest, I don't know. But at least looking at Ms. Chen Jiying and Dr. Suyu now, I don't feel regret. Spring is in the willow branches. I begged Suyu to push me outside for a look. I didn't have the strength to walk out myself. She wrapped me in a thick blanket and brought a woolen hat and pink gloves. "I'm already an old auntie. How can I still wear such colors?" Suyu lowered her head to put the gloves on me. "Big sis has always been beautiful young." Her dark circles were heavy. I heard she never got a full night's sleep. I saw her secretly crying in the bathroom, but in front of me, she never shed a tear. Suyu took me around the garden for a turn. About 20 minutes later, I started having trouble breathing. "I really want to see peach blossoms." Suyu's cold hands rested on the back of the wheelchair. She whispered, "Tomorrow, we'll go tomorrow."
I said okay.
Nodding took some effort. Actually, it wasn't nodding, it was lifting my head that was exhausting. I've never been this tired before. It felt like all my strength was draining from my limbs. A comment said that perhaps some things in this world are balanced. I had broken the original plot and must bear the corresponding consequences. Another comment said, the Lingxiao flower that blooms through suffering is the most beautiful. Xiao Qining destroyed the Lingxiao flower, and then I saw that comment swarmed by a flood of Momo accounts. Simply surviving in this world is already hard enough. But we just want to read warm stories. What's wrong with that? We just want stories where everyone lives and everyone is good. What's wrong with that? Even if they endure hardships, it should be for ideals and for life. What's the point of the original plot constantly being dragged around for a man? Boycott the original plot. Boycott the original plot +1. Suyu? Big sister, I'm here. I'm so tired. I want to sleep for a while. Okay, I'll stay with you. Not going anywhere. Extra chapter. Suyu stood in the cemetery in a daze, holding a bouquet of flowers in one hand and leading a little boy with only 3 fingers on the other. Dr. Su. The little boy shook the woman's hand and looked up at her. Why are you crying? It was then that Suyu snapped back to reality, as if waking from a dream. She gently placed the flowers in front of the tombstone, wiped the tears on her cheeks, and whispered, "It's okay." The streets were bustling with traffic, the car stereo played a new hit song, and the little boy deftly fiddled with the car air freshener. On the LED screen outside the window, New Year wishes from major advertisers were scrolling. Goodbye 2024, hello 2025, all the best. The little boy turned around with a grin. Happy New Year, Dr. Su. Upon returning home, as soon as the door opened, the blue cat wiggled its plump bottom, sniffing left and right, then swaggered over with half-closed eyes, waiting to be fed by humans. Wow, how did it know we bought Beltfish? Ms. Chun Jiying was arranging the dishes and saw Suyu and the little boy playing with the cat at the door. She quickly called out, "Stop playing with the cat, and go wash your hands. Come help set the dishes. Hey, the soup is ready. Go call your sister for dinner." Suyu wiped her hands and walked to the master bedroom. A woman at the desk was putting up her hair, wearing a green cheongsam with a white fur collar, paired with a pair of tourmaline earrings. Her face in the mirror was gentle, showing no trace of age. Wow, you're putting on makeup at home and sending me off to sweep Uncle Xiao's grave? I'm going to make a fuss. Xiao Qining turned back and laughed at her. Who was it that wouldn't let me go out? Suyu gave a light snort. Serves you right for not behaving. You always try to sneak out before you've recovered. Though she was grumbling, you're like a child. Even kids are more sensible than you. Her hands were very gentle as she helped Xiao Qining walk out. The young lady Xiao looked a bit helpless. Suyu, I can walk on my own. I can even run and play basketball, believe it or not. You dare. Mrs. Chun Jiying's roar came from the kitchen. Xiao Qining and Suyu exchanged a glance and stuck out their tongues. In this household, no one dared to provoke Mrs. Chun Jiying. After all, she was the greatest contributor. At the dinner table, the little boy had lost his front teeth, making his speech a bit lispy. Grandma Chen, what kind of job do you do? Mrs. Chun Jiying smiled as she ladled him a bowl of soup. Me? I research the intersection of biology and medicine. The boy was confused. There are no such subjects in primary school curriculum. Then, what's the use of the work you do, Grandma Chen? Ms. Chun Jiying gestured exaggeratedly, saying, the use is huge, this big. The child also stretched out their hands to gesture. This big. Suyu followed by opening her arms. Ha ha ha. After Xiao Qining's life entered its final countdown, the consulting experts all said there was no hope. In Suyu's desperate eyes, she waited for her mother, biology expert Ms. Chun Jiying, who brought the latest achievements from the international frontier of biomedical interdisciplinary research. The specific drug sustained Xiao Qining's vital signs, maintained blood pressure stability during the surgery, and solved the biggest problem for the medical team during the operation. The next moment after the operating room light went out, Suyu walked out wearing a mask and had a long gaze with Ms. Chun Jiying, who had already stood up. After a long while, she took off her mask, tears streaming down her face.
Thank you, Mom.
The mother and daughter embraced. Perhaps there are indeed some things that are conserved in this world, but it should not be suffering. Rather, it is love and strength, fate quietly forming a closed loop in a special place. Kindness is far more powerful than imagined.